In March of 2026, researchers at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology released findings from a study that sent quiet shockwave through the neuroscience community. They weren't studying artificial intelligence. They were studying what artificial intelligence was doing to the human brain, specifically to the parts responsible for independent reasoning. What they found was this. The more participants relied on AI to generate answers, the less active their prefrontal cortex became. Not from disease, not from aging, but from disuse. There's a word for what happens to a neural pathway that stops being used. Scientists call it synaptic pruning. I call it stupefaction of humans. You might call it giving up the power to think. And here's what they don't tell you in AI tutorials. The skills being pruned right now are not the ones AI was supposed to replace. They are meant to be the skills that make you irreplaceable. Today, I want to show you 3 neurological skills that are not just useful in the AI world. They are 3 skills that determine whether the rise of artificial intelligence lifts you or leaves you behind. These are not soft skills, as some claim. They're not corporate buzzwords. They are measurable, trainable functions of the human nervous system. And if you build them deliberately, you will not just survive the AI age. You will be the kind of mind AI was designed to support. So skill number 1. The first skill is what neuroscientists call metacognitive. And I want to be precise about what it means because most people misunderstand it. Metacognition is not thinking. It's thinking about thinking. It is the brain's ability to step outside of its own processes, observe the process, evaluate the process, and then finally redirect the process. Dr. John Flavell at Stanford first formally documented this capacity all the way back in 1979. But it was research from Harvard Center on the Developing Child that revealed something extraordinary. Your metacognitive ability is a stronger predictor of long-term success than your IQ. It's even stronger than your emotional intelligence. It's even stronger than your resilience and grit. When you engage metacognition, your dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for executive function, creates what neuroscientists call a supervisory control loop. It monitors your other cognitive processes the way a conductor monitors an orchestra, not playing the instruments yourself, but listening to the whole and keeping it on beat. Now, here's where this becomes urgent. When you outsource your thinking to AI, when you take the first answer it gives you, when you skip the struggle of forming your own conclusion, you're not just using the supervisory loop, you're bypassing it altogether. And every time you bypass it, your brain weakens. This is not a metaphor. The prefrontal cortex follows Hebb's law. Neurons that fire together, wire together. And neurons that don't fire, disconnect. People who use AI without metacognitive practice are not becoming more intelligent. Sure, they're becoming faster, but also shallower. They are outsourcing the very function that enables them to know whether the output is even right. So what does building metacognitive independence actually look like? There are 3 practices, each grounded in research. First, deliberate friction. Before you ask AI anything, spend 90 seconds forming your own hypothesis. Write it down, then compare. You are training the loop, not fighting the tool. Second, post-task auditing. After any significant decision made with AI assistance, consider 2 questions. What did I assume? And where could this have gone wrong? This activates the retrospective metacognitive circuit. And finally, third, the Socratic challenge. Once a week, take any conclusion you've accepted from AI, from media, or from a colleague and argue the opposite. Not because the opposite is true, because the act of challenging builds the neural architecture for independent evaluation. This is not about rejecting AI. It's about refusing to let the most important part of your brain go quiet. But metacognition is only the first layer. Because the second layer we are losing, and losing fast, is the one that the entire modern attention economy was designed to destroy. In 2015, Microsoft published a study claiming that the average human attention span had dropped below 8 seconds. That's shorter than a goldfish. You've probably heard that statistic. Most people accept it as fact in the modern world. However, here's what they don't tell you. It was based on a consumer survey with no neurological measurement whatsoever. It was marketing, not science. Sound familiar? But here is the actual science, and to be honest, it is far more alarming. In a 2023 study from the University of California, Irvine, found that it takes an average knowledge worker 23 minutes and 15 seconds to return to full cognitive engagement after a single interruption. And the average person in 2024 switched tasks or checked a device every 47 seconds. What this means neurologically is this. The prefrontal cortex depends on something called default mode network to consolidate information, generate insight, and form long-term memory. The default mode network only activates during sustained, unfocused states, what we used to call boredom, what we now have systematically eliminated. AI has made this worse in a very specific way. AI does not give you what you need to sit with. It removes the very discomfort that triggers your deepest thinking. Struggle is not a bug in the human condition. Struggle is the activation signal. It is the thing that tells your brain, pay attention. This matters. When AI removes the struggle, it removes the signal. And without the signal, the brain stops building. This is why the most cognitively powerful people in the next decade will not be the fastest using AI. They will be the deepest thinkers. So how do you build sustained attention depth in an age designed to destroy it? First, protect your cognitive windows. Each day, carve out 90 minutes, the appropriate length of a full rhythm cycle, where your only task is one thing. No notifications, no AI prompts, no switching. Your brain needs this unbroken runway to activate its deepest processing. Second, believe it or not, structured boredom. Schedule 10 minutes of nothing. No device, no task, no input. Walk without earbuds. Sit without a screen. This is not wasted time. This is when your default mode network generates the insights you couldn't find while working. And third, analog first. Before you type a query into an AI tool, write your thoughts by hand for 3 minutes. Handwriting activates different neural circuits than typing. It slows the linguistic process down enough for the prefrontal cortex to engage rather than just react. Attention is not a fixed resource. It is a neurological muscle, and right now yours is being trained to be weaker every single day by design. You have to train it in the opposite direction deliberately. And this brings us to the third skill, the one I believe that is not just the most important for the AI age, but the one that AI, by its fundamental architecture, will never possess. Let me take you inside the brain for a moment, because this is where it gets fascinating. All the way back in 1865, the chemist Auguste Kekulé had been struggling for years to determine the molecular structure of benzene. He fell asleep in a chair and dreamed of a snake eating its own tail. When he woke up, he understood the benzene molecule was a ring. In 1928, Alexander Fleming noticed that mold had contaminated one of the petri dishes. Rather than discarding it, he noticed that bacteria were dying around the mold. That observation became penicillin. Neither of these insights could have been generated by an AI. Not because AI lacks information, but because AI lacks what the brain does in those moments. Analogical synthesis. Analogical synthesis is the brain's ability to identify a structural similarity between two domains that appear completely unrelated and to generate a genuinely novel idea for that connection. Neuroscientists have traced this to the default mode network in collaboration with the prefrontal cortex and the hippocampus. It is a 3-part neurological event. And it requires three conditions that AI, by its architecture, cannot replicate: embodied experience, emotional salience, and temporal distance. Here's what I mean. AI does not have a body. It has never been afraid. It's never been humiliated, exhilarated, heartbroken, or awestruck. It has possessed descriptions of all of those states, billions of them, but it has not felt them. And feeling, as it turns out, is not irrelevant to intelligence. It is the firing system. The hippocampus does not store memories equally. It prioritizes them based on the emotional charge. The moments that moved you most deeply, the losses, the revelations, the encounters that changed you, those are filed closest to the surface, most richly connected to the adjacent ideas. When you encounter a new problem, your brain does not search a database. It resonates. It finds an emotional echo of a pattern you've lived before. That resonance is analogical synthesis, and it is irreplaceable. AI can tell you what others have concluded. It cannot tell you what a lifetime of paying attention has made you uniquely able to see. So how do you deliberately cultivate this capacity? First, every week, engage deeply with one domain entirely outside of your expertise. Not to become an expert, to let your brain find the rhythm. History, architecture, poetry, musical theory. Whatever is foreign to your daily work, that foreignness is the raw material of original insight. Second, incubation rituals. After a period of intense focus on any problem, stop completely. Sleep, walk, shower, cook. These activities do not pause your thinking. They activate the default mode network's connective architecture. The Kekulé dream was not magic. It was neuroscience. Third, the Insight Journal. Keep a dedicated notebook, not digital, for unexpected connections. When something from one part of your life suddenly illuminates something from another, write it down immediately. You are training your brain to notice the resonance that others miss. This is a skill that no AI model will replicate, not because the technology isn't powerful enough, because the foundation of original insight is a lived, embodied, emotionally textured human life. And that is not something you can download. So let me leave you with this final thought. The AI revolution is not a threat to human intelligence. It is a mirror. It reflects back to us the parts of our own minds that we have quietly neglected. Metacognition, the ability to evaluate and direct our own thinking. Sustained attention depth, the ability to stay present long enough for meaning to emerge. Analogical synthesis, the ability to generate genuinely original connections from a life fully lived. These are not soft skills. They're not aspirational. They are measurable, trainable outputs of a well-maintained nervous system. And here's what I want you to understand before you close this video. Every shortcut you take, every time you reach for an AI answer before you've tried to find it yourself, every distraction you've accepted without resistance, you are not saving time. You are deliberately spending your cognitive future. The people who thrive in an AI world will not be the ones who use AI most. They will be the ones who use AI while remaining, in the deepest sense, irreducibly human. This is not a coincidence. It's architecture. The brain builds what it uses, and when it stops using it, it quietly dismantles. So use your brain with all its complexity, especially with events that are hard. If this changed how you think about your relationship with AI, not the technology, but your own mind, subscribe to this channel, because this is the conversation we need to be having. I'll see you in the next one. I'm Dr. Strecker, author of Emergence. Stay strong.